Hey everybody, and welcome back to WebMD&DM, where I diagnose the discussions that take place around my table while playing both games, the Dungeons and the Dragons. It is once again time for us to unbox our monthly D&D-esque loot crate. This month, it is once again Dungeoncrate. Now this would be the fourth Dungeoncrate that I received, and for those of you who have been keeping along with this series, you might recognize that 4 was around the time that I lost patience with my previous box, RPG Crate, and transitioned over to Dungeoncrate. Now I've generally found myself to be a little bit more satisfied with Dungeoncrate over these last couple of months, especially considering the sort of narrative that they're building in with their adventures. So I believe that I'm going to continue my subscription with Dungeoncrate and see what more they have to offer. However, I have also learned of a couple of other boxes that have been starting to make their way onto the scene, and I may end up transitioning over to another box if I find myself getting bored of these, so stay tuned. But anyways, you're not here to listen to me talk about whether or not I'm going to be doing this or that. You are here to see what is inside this box. Now, this month is actually a curated version by the folks over at Nerdarchy. Now, I'm actually a little bit excited to see what they choose because I don't know Nerdarchy's product all that well, but I do know that they do something fairly similar to what I like to do, which is talk about D&D on the internet. So I'm interested to see what it is that they're going to be offering. But let's go ahead and just see what they have to offer. Oh, almost forgot to mention, next month's crate for September is going to be Willorin's Tower. Now you can see it has this very sort of interesting starfield effect going on, and towers are usually associated with mages, guilds, and things like that. So I'm really excited to see what it is that they're going to be doing with that box. You'll also can see that it mentions that they will be releasing the third in the Xander's Lost Orb adventure series. Now I've had a lot of fun with the Xander's Lost Orb series. I've really enjoyed the original Xander's Lost Orb. It's one of the main things that sold me on the very first Dungeoncrate box. I enjoyed their follow-up, which was all about infiltrating a thieves guild. You can see all of those in the previous unboxing videos, playlist down below in the description. But I'm really excited to see what their third adventure is going to be and whether it's going to be a trilogy or a series, because are they going to try and close things off? I mean, they did leave some plot hooks kind of open with the orcs invading against the lord of the town and all that other stuff. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing for next month, as well as excited to see what they're going to be doing for this month. So first thing we have is our card here, which mentions that the theme is, as before mentioned, Nerdarchy. I don't spend a lot of time with this because it's really just a checklist of things I already have, but I'm glad to have it because it also includes the passcode for their digital crate, which has a lot of their downloads and information and handouts that go along with the things that they're already releasing. So it's good to have that, and it's good to see the digital crate stuff because it's a good supplement to what's already in the box, and that makes it even more valuable to me. Next up, we have another adventure. Now, this one is apparently not linked to the Xander's Lost Orb series. As mentioned in the opening thing here, it appears to be a trilogy right now, but this one certainly has a very interesting appearance to it. From what I can tell, it's all about a group of dwarves who dug a little bit too deep and got attacked by some tentacled monster. There's a very short little dungeon, about 4 rooms, and yeah, I can't wait to crack into this because just look at that artwork. That's pretty awesome looking, right? I'll be interested to see what happens and in what ways I can incorporate something like this into my campaign world. One thing I'd like to mention before we go even further, these boxes always tend to sort of be themed together. Like you'll get a really beautiful D6 that also ties into an event in the adventure. So a lot of the stuff in this box I feel like is going to be related to the adventure that we just saw here. So I'm also really excited to kind of see what they're unleashing with that too. Next up, we have some fairly simplistic minis here. It looks like there's a roper, a gelatinous cube, a mind flare. That's really cool. There's a mind flare. I'm already sold. I love mind flares. They're just so awesome. And also what appears to be 3 dwarves here. One of them appears to be a sort of a cleric with a hammer. One of them is more of a fighter with like a shield. And one of them kind of looks like a noble with a very full white beard and elegant looking armor. But that's pretty cool. I'm always looking for new minis. I like to have a varied sort of collection. These definitely seem like a very cool sort of concept. They're sort of assemble and run, that sort of thing. I really like this sort of style. They're short one dimension, as Matt Colville would say, but they are still a fine addition to my collection. Next up, we have a set of Runeic dice. Now, there's 2 dice in here that I can see, and they both are essentially 2-sided, which means that they have this sort of Mobius strip effect, and the two sides that you can land on will have 1 pip or 2, and then they sort of have this rolling effect you can see here. So they will only land on those 4 sides. Now, that's pretty interesting. I can think of opportunities when I might want to use this. I believe times like whenever you need to roll odds or evens, they could come in handy, or that sort of thing. They're also just kind of cool to have. Other than that, they have it looks like one of these is actually a D4, so that's a new way of rolling a D4. But overall, I think these are an interesting appearance, but I might not apply them practically. I have my set of dice that I have spent quite a bit of money on that I really treasure. It's a set of the metal dwarven dice, and just recently I added in a set of the hematite dice, which are both, they're sort of heavy and they have a nice weight when they slam down on the tray. But I have my set that I use, and those are interesting, but I think they'll be mostly a collector's item for me. Next in the box, we actually appear to have a repeat from last month's box. This is a Game Master's Toolbox treasure deck. Now, I mentioned it before, this is essentially a deck of 52 cards in which you open up the deck, and each of the cards has a chart which you can roll, I think it's a D12 on, and it'll allow you access to all sorts of different treasures. Like it'll be 1 or 2 will have gold, 3 to 7 will have a little bit more gold, maybe an interesting item, and up in the 12s, that's when you start hitting the magic items. You'll get potions, scrolls, weapons, that sort of stuff. It's really interesting, especially if you're trying to do pocket DMing or DM on the go. You can use it to quickly come up with a treasure vault without needing to really think about it too much, which is always great. The less you have to think about it, the more you can think about the things you actually want to think about, like how this NPC is going to portray the heroes down the line or things like that. After looking at the card, I believe it was mentioned that this is actually because some people got the wrong style deck in their box. I was not one of them, so I feel kind of lucky in that regard, but it means I got an extra pack. So hey, let me know down in the comments, you interested in getting a pack of this Game Masters? Because I don't really need 2 of them. If you're interested, just leave a comment and I will be happy to send it your way. Next up, we have a set of 3 Beardspiration Tokens. Now, based on these 3 coins, the 3 dwarves from the mini set, and I think I'm starting to get the vibe that Nerdarchy is run by about 3 guys with beards, because a lot of these things are kind of based on that concept. But I can think of many times when I can use these Beardspirations. For example, if I'm running a bard and I use them in conjunction with my very nice wooden inspiration token, I now have 4 inspiration tokens that I can literally hand out at the table. Now, for the bard that I'm currently running, that's 1 token short, but I am really close to being able to just hand out tokens, literal tokens to people. I can think of some players who might be interested in that, some players who might consider it like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it's a little bit more inconvenient than I'd like. I'll just stick with my dice, thanks. But it's nice to have the option, and that's really the main thing, is it's sort of like the boxes introduce you to things you didn't know existed. For example, I didn't know there were things called Beardspiration Tokens, but it's still cool to find out about that. Next up, we have a Nerdarchy dice bag. I unfortunately just got a fantastic dice bag by my best friend who made it for me for my birthday. It's got a gold dragon on the front. She spent a lot of time working on that, and I absolutely love the thing to death. But this could be useful if, for example, somebody loses a dice bag, or I get lots of Chessex sets and I want to give them a little bit more flair, or I can fill this up with some gold coins or something and slam it down on the table as payment for the heroes. I can use it as a prop. I can use it as a dice bag for other dice that are less valuable to me. I can use this. It's nice to have. I also have what appears to be a Nerdarchy pin. Now, I am not much for the sort of the pin collecting, but I do like having the pins, and I may end up using it on like a bag or something like that. Also, apparently, if you got a certain Nerdarchy pin, you ended up getting the mega box or the collector's item, that sort of thing. I unfortunately was not able to get it, but I still got the pin itself, and that's pretty cool. Next up, we have this beautiful looking metal coin. Look, if you look here, it's got dwarven engravings around the side. It's got a bit of a shield on the front, and if you flip it over, it's actually got a 2-sided axe. So that's really cool. Apparently, according to the information card, this is actually used in the adventure. I believe it's a magic item where you flip the coin and there's a 50% chance that you hurt yourself, or there's 50% chance that you age yourself really well, and it's really interesting. It's a prop. It's a beautiful looking prop that I can use when I run the adventure, or I can throw it into a bag and throw it down for added effect when I'm handing out the treasure or when the NPC is paying them, that sort of thing. So this will probably join my collection of cool coins, and I'm really glad to have it because it is a beautiful looking dwarven coin. I mean, just look at that thing. That's awesome. A lot of dwarven love in this box, which as a dwarf at heart, I really appreciate because dwarves don't really get a lot of love in this edition, unfortunately. Next up, we have a flyer for what appears to be Hawaii Con. Now, unfortunately, I am releasing this video a little bit late, so Hawaii Con has already happened, so it doesn't do anybody much good. I would not have been able to attend that even if I wanted to, but it certainly seems like an interesting little convention. Certainly one that would take quite a bit of money to attend due to having to fly all the way out to Hawaii. And having just come back from Chicago Comic-Con, I'm a little tapped for conventions for right now. But I mean, it's good to hear about different conventions. I've always wanted to go to Gen Con, and I want to go to Dragon Con, and it's nice to hear about them, even if I can't actually attend them. The final thing is released by Deep Dungeon Games, as you can see here, and it is essentially a mini dice tower. It includes some stuff inside. It sounds like there might be a die in here, actually, because of the jingling around. Let me just open it up. It looks like we have a sticker to Deep Dungeon Games. I'm not one for stickers, but I mean, I might use it. Oh, we got a little bit more than that. Let's see. We do in fact have a D10. It's a nice looking purple one. It's probably Chessex based just from the feel and the look of it. I'll probably throw this into my spares, to be honest with you. Like I said, I have my set. So this one can join my backup dice. We also have a wooden dwarf fighter token. So this is like a marker that you can put on the mat if you want to represent a dwarven fighter, but you don't have the minis. I have plenty of dwarven minis, but I really enjoy getting these handmade wooden artifacts like this because it's just so nice to have, and it gives this very sort of rustic feel to what I'm doing, and I really enjoy that. And on top of that, I also get another inspiration token. Remember how earlier in the video I was complaining about only having 4 when I needed 5? Well, with this one, my 3 Beardspirations and my original Bardic Inspiration token over there, I have the 5 I need for my character to be able to inspire everybody. So that's kind of cool. I'm really glad to have enough inspiration tokens to be able to run that. But yeah, and now for the pièce de résistance of this little baggie. This fantastic wooden dice tray. It's got dwarven lettering here on the side. I'm not sure what it says. I need to translate it, unfortunately. It's got a Nerdarchy logo on the front to remind you that this box is in fact Nerdarchy, as well as a advertisement for Reading is Fundamental, which appears to have been brought to you by the 3 Beards of Nerdarchy. So this is actually really cool because one of the things I was kind of disappointed about when I went to Chicago Comic-Con, I went last year and there were a lot of people selling dice. It's where I got my original dwarven dice. And I was hoping to get even more dice, but unfortunately the company that was there selling the dice wasn't there, so I ended up getting dice from a different company. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who did things like this weren't able to attend, so I was not able to get myself a little mini dice tray like I wanted to, like this. So the fact that I got it in a box, that's really cool from my perspective. It's like, I didn't get the thing I wanted to get at Comic-Con, but I ended up getting it anyways because of the folks over at Dungeoncrate, just pure happenstance. So that was the August's Nerdarchy Dungeoncrate. I was really happy with this crate. I got the inspirations I needed, I got a cool dwarven coin, I got another adventure, which I always look forward to. One of the main selling points of RPG Crate was the Tales from the Bloody Bucket. One of the main selling points of Dungeoncrate was Xander's Lost Orb. I got a dice tower, which is something I've always kind of wanted, so I was really glad to get that. Overall, I am really happy with this box. Just, I can't even tell you why. As mentioned previously in the video, feel free to leave down below if you are looking to get your hands on one of these decks. I really am honestly willing to give this thing away because I don't use it very much. I tend to roll up my own treasure and I sort of have a feel for what they're going to find at the end of it already. But if you guys are interested in just getting a free deck of cards, getting an interesting tool that you could use as a DM, or if you are just interested in winning something, go ahead and leave a comment down in the doobly-doo below and we'll sort out the details and I'll get it to you as soon as I can. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave comments down below letting me know what you thought of this box. Let me know what you thought of this sort of curated experience by a digital company working with this box. Let me know what you thought of some of the products that were featured in this box as well as previous boxes. Let me know if you're getting bored of all the unboxing videos and want me to get back to work on those campaign diaries. please feel free to leave comments down below. I actually do get a kick reading them. As always, I hope you all have a lovely day. Don't forget to roll your charisma saving throw against that subscription button. And until I see you next time, take care.